Hello, good morning. Today is all about creativity and getting organized so that we can create. And I'm going to share with you my top 3 tips for starting an art practice, and not a daunting art practice, but starting something that you're going to continue to practice to get better at. So first of all, good morning. How are you this morning? We have had some sun today, and there's been a little bit of solar into the battery bank, so we're all celebrating on the boat today. But let me know where you are today and whether or not it is sunny or cloudy. We've had so much wind lately, so tell me if it's windy or rainy. Whatever it is, let me know how it's going today. I know a lot of you paint and draw along with me, so if you can't type at the same time, you're welcome to watch this in replay, if you hashtag replay, and let me know how it's going there. And if you can't do that, then just send me a love heart, because I love to see them appearing all over the screen. But good morning. We are talking today about being creative and creating, and I'm going to share with you my top 3 tips. Excuse me, just organizing a few things here. Okay. All right, so first of all, we're going to talk about my top 3 tips for being creative, and I also want to show you the sunflowers from yesterday. Today's the last day we're going to spend with the sunflowers, and I want to show you a different way to finish off your sunflower while we talk about being creative at the same time. So we're going to do a little bit of doodling and finishing off work as we talk together. And hopefully, morning Julie, Julie says they're in stone. I loved stone. I really wish I had locked down in stone, because I think there's a Marks and Spencer's there and they did really great falafels. That's really my only reason. Yeah, they were really great. Morning, Mare. Lovely and sunny in Liverpool. That's unusual, isn't it? Or is that just me being geographically biased? So we're going to have a look at our sunflower picture. I want to show you yesterday's sunflower picture and how I finished it off. And I want to show you something fun to do today. If you're talking with friends or you're watching some television, I want to show you exactly what you need to do to get creative. Okay, so here we go. This is my finished sunflower. I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with how it all turned out. I don't think there's anything I'd change in this process. I think if I had to give myself some teaching notes, I would work on my background sunflowers and decide how I wanted them to look. But it's quite a chaotic picture, and I really like that chaos. Good morning, Deborah. So I've done actually 2 sunflowers because sometimes I like to practice things, and especially going live. In this case, I had to practice some of the skills that I was showing you and try to get them to just 20 minutes so that you could have an impacting time. And so this is my second one. You can see that it's not finished at all. Good morning, Pauline. I'm here, not in the motorhome. I'm here, not in the motorhome. Oh, okay. Hi. So today we're going to doodle all over this watercolour, and it's one of my favourite things to do. Way before I had a set of watercolours, I was always doodling when I was growing up and things like that. I have some pigment ink pens. I've had them, I think maybe from like the first year that I immigrated. I maybe bought these in England. If I didn't, I brought them from Australia. I can't 100% remember. But they're really good. And then I just have this standard one as well, which is a waterproof. I think that's a British brand as well. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to bring out some of the flower. We're going to have a very different feel to our other flower. And we are going to make it so that this is just a different kind of design if you want to have a different way of finishing off your artwork. I find that when you're a beginner, sometimes it's easier to finish off with an ink pen because you want to kind of highlight some of the designs that maybe you didn't have enough skill to do with the watercolor. And I'm not a watercolor purist. I don't believe that you shouldn't use white, and I don't believe that you shouldn't use black. I don't have enough time for that kind of stuff. So I am more than happy just to kind of ink over it. And what I'm thinking is just doodling and talking to you at the same time. So you might put a little bit more effort into your doodling. Morning, Sandra. Okay, so we're going to talk about being creative and creating. My top 3 tips. First of all, I wanted to say to you that, which we've talked about before, which is creativity is not talent. It's not to say there's not so many talented people in the world. There are. But a lot of them don't end up creating for whatever reason. And so what it boils down to is that you have to manage your day to find time to be creative. You can't rely just on talent. It's something that you've got to build. And what I do, especially in summer on the boat, I like to get up early and take advantage of the sun and do some painting early before I start commission work, because once I start a commission, it's a different kind of feel, because it's a little bit like work. And so I have a cup of tea, or I go outside, and I just set that time aside for me to just create something. And it's just a really great routine. Winter's a little bit harder. Last year in winter, I got into this great routine where I started meditating in the morning before the sun came up, which, to be honest, in England is really just any time before 8. And so I started to do that, and it was so fantastic. But I have to be honest, this autumn, because we have the fireplace in, I'm finding it really difficult to get out of bed. So I'm not doing my meditating in the morning, which is a little bit sad, and I have to get back onto it. But what I have been doing is these daily lives with you guys, and I found that routine, the routine of creating with you and kind of thinking each morning, oh, what shall we talk about? What shall we do? Where are we up to? And that kind of routine has been really helpful. So just give me a love heart so that I know that you're still with me and that you agree that we need some sort of morning routine, because it's just such an important thing, and especially creating, like if you've got to go to work, then you want to change your routine up for the evening. But I think one of the things I wanted to mention with your routine and creating is that you have to turn your phone off. Not if you're creating with me, obviously, if to leave your internet on if you're creating with me to follow along. But if you're one of those people that is always checking your phone, then really turn your phone off, put it in another room. I've recently started not taking my phone into the bedroom, and that's been really great, because then first thing in the morning I don't check my emails, because that has been a flaw in the past. Okay. And again, there's no pressure on this. We're just making something. I'm not 100% sure what it'll end up like in the end, but I wanted to share with you my top 3 tips on being creative. And my second one is that you really have to trust that you know what you need. So you have to trust that you have this need and this desire to be creative. And I don't know if the same thing happens to you, but I'm just like, I've got to sit down and I've got to draw something, or I've got to paint something. So really it's just about you knowing what kind of creator you are. Like you might be the kind of person that does lists, like my wife, she does lists every day, and then I have to look at them, and then we tick stuff off, and it's lovely and everything, but and it really helps me stay on track as far as work goes, and And so she's like really organized like that. And or you might be somebody who's more of the advocate of the organized chaos form of routine. My point is that you know exactly what you need to do to have your day, and you need to trust that. If what works for you is not necessarily what's going to work for me. So I'm taking every second petal here, and I'm just doing a kind of, I don't even know, this kind of round design. I find as a doodler, like some people get rulers and they use really straight lines. I find that I end up being really organic when I'm doodling, which is fine. Everybody's kind of different. And this is quite a thick pen. This is says it's a 0.7, and then I have a 0.3 as well for a little bit finer detail. And I think one of the tips when you are doodling is repeated lines. I found a lot of the time if you kind of repeat something, it looks really planned. Not planned, but repetitive, obviously. Sandra Green says, I look forward to this time of the day. That's so lovely. I really do as well. I think 10:30 is a perfect time. Having said that, Friday night, don't forget, we celebrate our week of success and our week of creating at, I think we were together at 7 yesterday, so we'll try that as well. See how Friday goes for everybody. It's nice to have different people kind of joining in on a Friday as well. We build our little creative community here. So I wanted to share with you the third way to get creative and to be organized. And really that's just to be set up. You have to make sure that all your equipment is easy to find. I know some of the people in this group have recently come into Watercolour, and they've gone and got their paints and their paintbrushes and really kind of found a way to get themselves set up. And I think that that's just so wonderful, and that's exactly what you need, because there's nothing worse than watching somebody do a painting tutorial and wanting to go give that a go, and you don't have the white gouache, or you don't have the paper, or you don't have the same paintbrush. And I do try to give you guys alternatives, but if you're set up and you know the equipment that you have, then that's just, that works so much better. The other thing I do for being set up is I try to go through lesson ideas. So I'm not one of those people that likes to have a skill lesson. Like I really fight against the idea of making swatches and, doing a deep dive into color theory. I like to actually paint something and then have the painting and practice the skill at the same time. So I've got a heap of kind of painting ideas, and what I do, and I've mentioned it before, is I use Unsplash because the images are copyright free, and I've got a little book, a little Word document where I just save a heap of the links to the images that I like, and then when I'm kind of thinking, I need to paint something, I'm going to practice my gradient or something like that, then I'll go and find an image that I like. And I think that's really important to kind of have yourself set up so that you know where your images are. And again, this is a really great resource for you to come and go, here's, we can do a flower, we can do some autumn leaves, we can do balloons, and it just becomes a good resource. And the other thing I've put together is, several lessons over in my membership section, and I'll put a link to that in the comments. And it's just it's a really great place to start, because every lesson has a skill or a technique, and then every technique has an outcome, so it has a picture or a painting, and then that painting has extra painting ideas as well. So so it's a really good resource, and I think it's only about £4 a month or something like that. So it's really affordable because you really just want something reliable and affordable that can help you out and show you where to start. So that's a really great thing to do as well. And it saves, if you do join a kind of membership program like that, and this site in particular, it saves you a heap of time clicking around for ideas. And then sometimes when I use YouTube to find painting ideas, I get halfway through the painting tutorial and they click to the end and I haven't seen the bits that I want to learn because they fast forwarded or something like that. So my tutorials are in real time just to make it easier. I love this kind of doodling. I have to say, if you haven't tried it, you've got to not be precious with your picture. And you just end up being quite tranced, I think, and it ends up being quite lovely. If you doodled with me last week, we did a kind of vine, and I think you'll notice like the vine we did, the lines were different. In this case, I am actually outlining the flower and trying to make it more of a, I think it's called a stylized kind of flower, but it's a lot of fun. If you get waterproof markers, this one isn't waterproof because this is ink, and if I put some water on it, it'll bleed. This one's great. You can actually start with the outline and you can fill it in watercolour. So let me know in the comments if you want to see that. That's really fun to do as well. Don't know if you can hear the outside birds, but this morning there were so many birds chirping because of the weather. I think everybody was just so excited that it was sunny. I think I'm going to do something in the background, taking it through. And these are one of my favourite kind of doodling patterns. You'll find that you end up having things that you really like to use. I like to use these ones, which are a semicircle and then a semicircle around the top. And then if I take them and create a background, over to here. There's so much problem solving that goes on with doodling. I absolutely love it. And I would really, really like to see what you guys come up with. Because again, I'm only spending about 20 minutes doing a few doodling sections, and really you could spend a couple of hours on this as well. And I really don't want to stop today. So yeah, take that all the way across. I'm not sure what to do with these little leaves here at the front. I'm wondering, I might just end up giving them, oh, this is a good one sometimes. So you put a line through it and take the other side. It's a bit big. just to kind of give them their own section. I like to repeat in something like this, I like to repeat around the flower, but kind of give each section of the flower its own design, or section of the painting its own design. So you're really kind of problem solving and trying to see what goes where. And the great thing is, if something doesn't work, because I've been known to like put something that doesn't work, you can always colour it in the black ink and then make that into a new design, and that works quite well as well, if that makes sense. I mean, you could even leave those three and just to tell those three, there's like 5 there, and just to tell your mind that there's something over on the other side that has the same pattern. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. I just love that. I love kind of playing around with it and seeing different things that are made, and I like spending time with you guys as well. If you have enjoyed that, do drop me a like, and also let me know, because we've done a few things together. We've done the base layer, which was all wet on wet, and then we've done detail, and we've done some inking. So we've done 1, 2 and 3. Let me know in the comments which one you struggle with the most, because then I kind of know what to focus on. Is it number 1, laying the paint initially, the wet on wet technique, or like starting that picture? That's number 1. Is it number 2, where you're kind of, sorry, there's a big speedboat coming by. It's like the smaller the boat, the louder it is. You probably can't even hear it. So number 1, is it number 1, laying the foundation, starting the work? Is it number 2, doing detail and really adding those extra layers? Or is it number 3, adding some line and design to your painting? Which one do you struggle with the most? Which one do you like the most? But make sure you let me know which is which. So 1, 2 or 3 for which one you struggle with the most. It'd be really helpful for me. Again, check out my link in today's video, and I will see you tomorrow for some inspiration. It's an inspiration evening where we celebrate our week's success. Please bring along your own beverage of choice, and I will see you then. Let me just see if anybody's waving goodbye, because I can actually see my comments today, which is awesome. And I don't want to finish too early without saying goodbye to you, because I see so often when I've hung up and then I can see extra goodbye. So I'm just going to see if someone says goodbye to me, and then we'll go.